So, what were you on the 19th of November? I know many of you didn't know, but it was International Men's Day. And I saw a lot of men on social media saying, no, if it was Women's Day, we would have seen a gazillion posts celebrating women. A lot of men didn't even know. I think I even saw the post about it about 3-4 hours into the day already. But yeah, International Men's Day is a global holiday celebrated annually on the 19th of November. And I'm joined here now by Mfona Basi Essienet, who's a fitness professional. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you very much, Ebuka.
How did you celebrate?
I practically was in a session all day.
Okay.
Yes, and then after that, I just went and had a drink, slept.
Great stuff. Like I said earlier, when we're talking off air, you know, fitness is starting to look like a thing for Nigerians now.
Yeah.
People are getting more in tune with, you know, trying to stay healthy and all of that.
Yeah.
With men, for the longest time, especially in this part, still is people see carrying a certain weight as being a big man. You know, how can you have to have a pot belly for you to know that you're enjoying life.
Yeah.
With International Men's Day and trying to spread the message, you know, for men to stay more healthy and all of that, do you find that in this part that is still the thing, or people are starting to realize that, you know what, if you want to live a better, healthier life, you know, you need to take care of your body a certain way?
Oh, I think people are starting to realize that we actually need to be better versions of ourselves on a daily basis to be able to, you know, achieve all that we wanted to do. I mean, COVID-19 was a huge eye-opener in that part. We had people coming together, men taking walks. You know, before it's a thing of, oh, the woman, she has to be this, slim waist and all, but we men have peculiarities to our own selves, prostate, cancer, and the likes. So no matter what happens as a man, you need to be alive to enjoy the money that you make, hence the need to stay fit.
Yeah. So, but also with lifestyle generally, because I know one thing I've always heard with a lot of men around me saying, oh, our food here, it's very hard to live a healthy life because the average Nigerian meal is filled with maybe, for want of a better word, all of the wrong things, you know. We love our red oil, you know, we love our grains, our rice, we love our wheat, you know, and our soup, we kill the vegetable in the oil, you know. And that's how we've all grown up to enjoy our meals, you know. So for a man, like, for example, you know, how does dieting, for example, work in this part where you actually want to enjoy these things, your local food, and still, you know, be healthy? Is that possible?
Oh, yes, very much. Very possible. I mean, for men, our greatest problem at the moment is not even the food, it's drinks. Because alcohol provides a whole lot of weight on ourselves as men. So if you want to stay healthy as a man, you're looking at ensuring that that energy that you have just taken in is not just stored, but you've burnt it out. Because fat is simply energy that was stored into the body. So it's the body's mechanism of making sure that you do not run out of energy in the first place. So as a man, whatever happens, the idea is just to stay healthy. So if you, for instance, Lagos now, by the time you finish from traffic and everything...
I was going to say, because for a lot of people, unfortunately, that's the excuse. You've had a long day. It's the one thing you want to use to.
Exactly.
So what are the options then?
Traffic, you choke. When you get home, eat.
Yeah.
Did you say that? Yes, I did. Eat. Eat, but no matter what happens, do not just eat and sleep. Eat, stay active, find something doing. And then when you get to sleep, make sure you give your body enough time to break down that food that you've taken in before you take your next meal. So if, for instance, you had a meeting that ran till 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and you had not eaten all day, oh, please, we don't want you having ulcer. Find something and eat. But you've eaten by 4, right? We don't want anything in your mouth till about 2 in the afternoon. Because that time, the body would have been able to process that and those carbs and, you know, all those things you've taken in.
So it's like a 10-hour window, you're saying?
So to say.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, however it gets to be broken down, let it be broken down. Sometimes 10 hours, sometimes 12, sometimes 14. I mean, for other people who are almost always active, they don't have that window. Because, I mean, you could see, that's why you could see a trainer immediately carry a whole box of pizza, down it, down, and then the next thing they are jumping all about. Why? Because they are always almost on deficit as a result of working out over time. So their body is always even asking that, how far battery low.
But is that realistic though? Because you just talked about a place like Lagos, for example,
Yeah.
places like Port Harcourt, where traffic is part of the
It's
culture.
terrible.
You know,
Yeah.
people get home 10, 11 sometimes.
Yes, yes.
Or if you went for a wedding on Saturday, you probably got home at about midnight.
Yes,
There's that small rice remaining in the fridge. You just quickly warm it up. You probably eat at 2, and you have to be at work and probably leave the house at 5 a.m.
No.
You probably get to the office and you want to have breakfast before your day starts.
Yeah.
How does a man handle that?
So a man, we need to plan for it. We need to plan ahead of time. You probably take a day in the weekend and then just plan out what you're going to eat for the rest of the week.
And stick to it.
And then
So it
stick
takes
to
a lot
it.
of discipline.
Yeah, so it actually is a matter of discipline and not a matter of want.
Yeah.
Quality is free, yes, but desire is a vital requirement.
Very deep. We're joined by a guest now, Toluse Francis, who's a mental health coach and advocate. Toluse, thanks a lot for joining us. If you can hear me, I did see something on Twitter a couple of weeks, some months ago, where someone said nobody ever asks a man how you doing, and not just the regular how far, like asking how are you actually doing, especially in a country where everything is so patriarchal. The man is expected, quote unquote, to be certain things or carry themselves a certain way. How do you think men in Nigeria are faring mentally, especially now that mental health people are becoming a little more vocal, about their mental health?
So it's interesting that November is also Men's Mental Health, and that makes it quite fascinating that we have the International Men's Day of Mental Health Month for men in the same month. In terms of the mental health of men, I'm not too sure if I can say that men are doing very okay at this point in time. There's a whole lot of expectation. I read something on LinkedIn where someone said that International Men's Day is responsible men. And I'm asking myself if being on your own moral guilt is what makes someone a man or a virtue of gender. And so you see a lot of things being called at men, a lot of things being said to men, men as scum and all that and all that. And so there's that expectation from men and the struggle to keep up. And there are some men who feel that they are not being thanked or appreciated enough for the things that they do. You see some who feel like they're putting in so much, yet they cannot see the dividend of their effort because the society expects so much from them. Are we doing better? Maybe better than we were some years back, because we've had that conversation happen here and there every day. But I think we can do much more better. We can do much more better when we ask me how are you doing, not because we are expecting the cliche response of I'm fine, but we really want to know how they're doing, and we do thank them for the little things that they do, and they'll make them understand that they need to speak up. And nobody's expecting them to be today a machine, nobody's expecting them to be robots, but then it's okay for them to actually speak up and say how they feel and what's actually happening to them.
Yeah. I know, because for men, not to say that women don't face pressure, but of course we're talking about International Men's Day. But for men, this pressure is quite multi-layered. The society brings its own, maybe you're supposed to be married at a certain age, you're supposed to have made a certain amount of money. You should live in your own house at a certain age. You should have a certain kind of job or earn a certain kind of living. Then there's the family pressure, maybe cousins or family friends or whoever who make certain demands because they believe, you're a big man in Lagos, you should be sending so and so. But I always hear sometimes too that maybe the biggest pressure is actually the one that comes from yourself, where you have set certain goals. By 30, I should do this, or by 25, I should do this, or by 35, And in a country where, things are never really what they seem or what they are projected to be, it's not always easy to meet, those targets that we set for ourselves. Are there ways for men to start to handle these pressures, especially how sort of multi-layered they are and how they come to us?
I think the first thing that every man needs to accept is the fact that not everyone likes to do. The fact that one person is journey in a straight line graph see, doesn't mean that we also go that same direction. Anytime I have the opportunity to speak with, I tell them that look, you know what path you have charted for your life, you know what you want to do. The real question is getting there. Like how you get there might take years, it might take months. But you need to realize that you just keep going. Don't sit down there and compare yourself with other people. I mean, and that's the first thing I'm going to say. That, look, it's very easy for you to compare yourself with a classmate of yours, maybe from secondary school university, and feel like this person is doing so much. Realize that you also don't know the battles that this person is fighting on a daily basis. So understand that, yes, you may be in the same industry, you may be going through the same thing, but you all don't have the same journey or the same destination. Number two is take it one step at a time. Okay, you want to achieve what someone achieved in 10 years, you want to achieve it in 5 years. Life is a journey. Whatever it is that you want, you have to go through certain processes. If you arrive there early, that's good for you. If you arrive there late, the most important thing is that you've arrived there. And the fact is you don't arrive late. You arrive at a point that is helpful to you and realize that you have your own journey to go through. So I wish that all men would understand that they must own their own life themselves, they must own their own journey, and they must understand that putting pressure on themselves doesn't really help. And like I always say, you have three categories of people in this life that you need to guide you and make you realize that life is a journey. Those below you, those at par with you, and those ahead of you. Each of these categories of people remind you of several things, that you were once at the bottom. Where you are right now, you have people on the same level, and there are people ahead of you, which means that someday you will also be ahead of someone. So keep pushing our team, but remember that you need your sanity and you need to be real with yourself, even as you go on that journey.
All right, Toluse, I'll come back to you, but let me come back to the studio here now with our guests. And I want to put you on the spot because fitness has now been accused as being one of also a big reason for men feeling inadequate. You know, I know many people who say they walk into the gym and they see you guys lifting all of these things and, you know, jumping over all of these hoops. And you must feel like, wow, do I even look good enough? You know, will I ever be able to do this? And I know people who never go back to the gym because they don't feel like, you know, they belong in that space, you know. And it's one of many, you know, issues that men sort of try to handle. I don't know if you have clients who say things like this to you. How do you tell a man, maybe not just in fitness, in life, you know, that's, you know, this is doable? It's easy to say, but how do you make them believe it?
I mean, fitness is a journey. It's a journey. I mean, you have to take it easy, baby steps. So take walks. It could be on just the treadmill. Whatever happens, it could be just setting a target. Some people set outrageous targets, 20,000 steps a day. I'm going to nail it or more. I must do. But you know, sometimes you could just start with 5,000 steps a day. Just make sure you get active. Why? Because no matter, for instance, I had a client who came in and said he came from the hospital directly. And I'm wondering why you're on the treadmill. And he says it's because they told him his blood sugar was over 140. I literally had to stand by him throughout the workout. And I put his treadmill to 3.0. And I told him to not run. In fact, in my eyes, you're a miracle star. Because the blood sugar that is more than 80 is a risk. How much more 140? So I try to just let them know that the good thing is that they've made the decision. They've come into the gym or they've decided to get a personal training service. And then to just gradually take it one step at a time. That's what's more important.
Is there any links between fitness and mental health?
Oh, a whole lot. A whole lot. I mean, there is a direct correlation between the fact that you used to lift 40 pounds and now you lift 50 pounds and how you attack work. So the day you break your 1 rep max on a bench press or on a squat rack, when you get to work and they give you a target, I mean, it's very easy. Because in your head, you're like, oh, I mean, I've lifted some weight. This shouldn't be that hard. So you just take it up and you say, oh, I'm going to push it. So for some people, working out is not an option. It's a way of life.
So I'll still go back to Toluse, but I want to talk about, you know, what we define as success in Nigeria. Maybe a little bit out of your field, but I mean, you're a man, so you also face these questions, you know. And in this part, money is usually the link to a lot of these things, you know. You might be great in your career, you might have reached the pinnacle, but people still sort of gauge what they call successful based on, okay, how many cars does he have? You know, how much is he spending at certain events, you know. Do you find that? How do you find that, as a man? Do you get those sort of questions or conversations happening a lot, maybe with your peers? Because I'm sure a lot of us sit around and just wonder,
Yes.
this guy, man, I wish I could.
Yes,
Do you find that money is still one of probably the biggest pressure men face here?
Oh, yes, it is. Money is if you permit me, I would like to go say that is a product of toxic masculinity, because there is this belief that to be a man, you have to be, this and you have to be that. And then we do not agree that vulnerability is part of life. In fact, one of the highest forms of maturity is vulnerability, So I believe success is not just in figures, it's not just in money, but about influence. It's about resources. The fact that when you need something, you can get it done. And most times that's around your influence, your sphere, the people you have in your life. So the quality is the decision that, that determines, but then the quality of the decision is hinged on the quality of the advice.
Yeah.
So if we have, as men, we need to be open to more advice. We need to support ourselves more and do not look down on each other and not just rub it on the fact that, oh, Baba, if you order a zoo, that means, and you're not successful. A lot of people have other things that they're holding. He may not be interested in a car at the moment. That does not mean he's not successful. He may have, he may have a billion things with his money.
Toluse, I want to come to you if you're still there with us, just to quickly wrap this up, because you are the expert here, and talking about pressure, and how just society makes this a thing now. Like we say in Nigeria, we see success, as mostly financial, so people don't even ask questions about how the money was made, Are we ever going to come out of that? Because as a man, you can decide, okay, he's not going to get to me, but society still puts that pressure anyway. How do we change that mentality? Is it even possible?
It's hard to say that we may never come out of that. And the reason is because we pass this down from generation to generation. How parents pass it down to us, what being successful means. Look at social person, has social number of children, has social number of cars, is married at 25 and all that. And then you grow up and then you also pass it down to your children or even those around, and it goes on and on and on. But can we reduce it? Can we really change the narrative? We may be able to if we tell ourselves that success, like Fabati said, doesn't really mean what you have at the moment. It's a function of you knowing what success means to you as an individual. Of course, society will say that. Society will give you their own gauge and their own meter for which success should be measured. But if you can tell yourself that you will not live by that standard, then you may be able to help yourself. And if you help yourself, you may be able to help another person. But the truth of the matter is, unless we begin to change the things that we pass down from generation to generation, how we believe that you have not become a responsible man until you're married. I mean, yet things like when the person says marriage, say, now you're now a responsible man. As if marriage confers some level of responsibility on a person or a lady. So at the end of the day, each person must define for himself what success means, and also be stern about not allowing the definition of success by the world or by the society be his own definition, and take it one step at a time, celebrating his little wins.
So in one sentence, what is success to you?
Well, I think success for me is, am I happy with what I am doing, and am I able to touch lives in whichever way and whichever means I'm able to do? Each time people come back to me and say, because of you, I made this decision. Because of you, I am better than I am. When people come into therapy and they refer other people to me, I am excited because it tells you that, look, I am successful at this thing. I have helped somebody live another day rather than concluding that life is not working. And so I go to bed smiling each time I know that because of what I said or what I did, someone is still alive and someone is living a happy life.
Great stuff. Before we sign out now, back to you, Basi, just final word here. If there's one thing you want Nigerian men to stop eating, what would it be?
Man, that's hard. That's hard. The Nigerian man, that's hard.
Or drinking?
Okay, to stop eating or drinking. Funny enough, I think to stop eating to be chips.
Chips?
Roadside chips.
Oh, okay. Why is that?
Because they contain a lot of salt and spices, and right now, salt is more dangerous than sugar. In fact,
plus plantain chips. How will I survive traffic?
I know, right? It's part of it, but yes, I think that. And then when it comes to drinking, I think you should just know yourself and then take it easy. Let's just stay safe out there and just live life, enjoy life.
Thank you very much, Basi.
You're
Thank you very
welcome.
much,
Thank
Toluse
you.
Francis, and happy International Men's Day. Hopefully next year we are a little more excited about the day that we were.
Yes, we are.
Really want